In the early 90s, the Balkan region was a cauldron of ethnic conflicts, and the stage was set for Operation Storm and Flash. As the decade dawned, the once united Yugoslavia found itself in a state of dissolution. The federation of 6 socialist republics, bound together after World War II, was falling apart. The first domino to fall was Slovenia, followed closely by Croatia. By mid-1991, Croatia had declared its independence, marking a significant shift in the political landscape of the Balkans. However, this newfound independence was not without its challenges. Ethnic tensions, deeply rooted in history and culture, began to surface. The Croats, now the majority in the newly independent state, found themselves at odds with the Serb minority. This tension was not a spark, but a raging fire, leading to the Croatian War of Independence. As the conflict escalated, the United Nations Protection Force stepped in, with the aim of maintaining peace and preventing further conflict. However, despite their best efforts, the situation continued to deteriorate. The Serb minority, feeling marginalized and threatened, established the Republic of Serbian Krajina within the borders of Croatia. This self-declared entity was not recognized internationally but demonstrated the depth of the ethnic divide. Croatia, a young nation, found itself in a precarious situation. It was a country divided, with its sovereignty threatened. Leadership came in the form of President Franjo Tudjman, a man determined to unite his country and secure its independence. He understood that a decisive military campaign was needed, a campaign that would not only reclaim the lost territories, but also quell the ethnic tensions tearing his country apart. Thus, as the mid-90s approached, the stage was set. The winds of war were blowing once again over the Balkans, and Croatia was preparing for what would become 2 of the most significant military operations in its history. As tensions escalated, Croatia, under the leadership of President Franjo Tudjman, prepared for a decisive military campaign, which would come to be known as Operation Storm and Flash. On August 4, 1995, under the first light of dawn, Operation Storm was launched. The Croatian forces, with a clear strategic plan, began a swift and decisive move to retake the region of Krajina, a Serb-held territory that was once a part of Croatia. This was not a simple mission of reclamation, it was an operation of paramount importance that would decide the course of the war. At the heart of Operation Storm's strategic objectives was the reclamation of Krajina, a region that was crucial for Croatia both geographically and politically. The Croatian forces understood that regaining control of Krajina was not just about reclaiming a piece of land, it was about restoring the integrity of their nation. In the execution of this operation, the Croatian Army's special forces played a pivotal role. Trained to perfection, these forces were the tip of the spear, leading the charge into the heart of Krajina. Their swift and strategic movements, coupled with their unyielding determination, helped them penetrate deep into the enemy lines, causing significant disruption and confusion among the Serb forces. As the special forces moved forward, they were backed by the relentless pounding of Croatian artillery. The thunderous roars of the cannons echoed across the region, shattering the Serb defense lines and paving the way for the Croatian forces to advance. The operation triggered a mass exodus of Serbs from the region. As the Croatian forces advanced, the Serbs, caught off guard by the ferocity and speed of the attack, began to retreat. This mass evacuation further weakened the Serb defense, making it easier for the Croatian forces to achieve their objectives. In just 4 days, Operation Storm had succeeded in its objectives, drastically altering the course of the war. The Croatian forces had not only reclaimed Krajina, but had also sent a powerful message to their adversaries, demonstrating their military prowess and their resolute determination to defend their homeland. Earlier in May 1995, Croatia had launched a precursor to Operation Storm, a swift and decisive military campaign known as Operation Flash. This operation was a pivotal moment in the Croatian War of Independence, in which the Croatian military aimed to recapture Western Slavonia, a region that had been under Serb control since the early days of the conflict. This was not a simple task by any means. Western Slavonia was a strategic region, rich in agricultural land and vital transport links. Its recapture was seen as crucial for Croatia's economic recovery and territorial integrity. With these high stakes, the Croatian military knew they had to act fast and decisively. Operation Flash was a masterclass in the use of surprise and speed. The Croatian forces planned meticulously, employing a mix of traditional warfare and guerrilla tactics. They moved rapidly, catching the Serb forces off guard, and within a mere 4 days, the Croatian flag was once again flying high over Western Slavonia. However, the speed and intensity of the operation came at a cost. As the Croatian forces advanced, thousands of Serb civilians were displaced from the region. The speed of the operation and the displacement of civilians led to a humanitarian crisis, with many people being forced to leave their homes and possessions behind. Yet, in the grand scheme of the conflict, Operation Flash was a game-changer. It demonstrated the power and capability of the Croatian military and shifted the balance of power in the region. The operation sent a clear signal to the world that Croatia was determined to reclaim its territory and would not shy away from taking decisive military action. Operation Flash was a harbinger of things to come, setting the stage for the larger and more comprehensive Operation Storm. The success of Operation Storm and Flash marked a turning point in the Croatian War of Independence. In the wake of these operations, the landscape of Croatia was forever altered. The military triumphs, while crucial for Croatia's path to sovereignty, bore a heavy toll. Thousands of lives were lost, and many more were displaced. The aftermath was a poignant reminder of the harsh realities of war. Towns lay in ruins, families torn apart, and a nation left to rebuild. The international community watched with mixed emotions. On one hand, there was relief as the operations were instrumental in bringing an end to the war. On the other, there was deep concern over the humanitarian crisis that ensued. The displacement of persons, particularly of the Serbian minority, drew the world's attention. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees estimated that nearly 200,000 people were forced to leave their homes. The operations also sparked controversy and intense debates over alleged war crimes. The International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, or ICTY, launched investigations into the conduct of both Croatian forces and the rebel Serb forces. High-ranking officials and military leaders from both sides were indicted. Some were acquitted, while others were convicted, further fueling the debate over the ethics and legality of the operations. Throughout the years, the verdicts of the ICTY have been both praised and criticized. While the tribunal has been lauded for its efforts to bring justice and accountability, critics argue that it has been biased and inconsistent. In the grand scheme of things, Operation Storm and Flash represent the complexity and paradoxes of war. They were a strategic success, pivotal in Croatia's quest for independence. Yet they were also a source of human tragedy and international controversy. The operations remain a significant chapter in the annals of modern warfare, serving as a grim reminder of the costs of conflict. These operations, while decisive in ending the war, left a deep and lasting impact on the region. In the span of a few months in 1995, Croatia dramatically altered the course of its war of independence through Operation Storm and Flash. We've journeyed through a pivotal era in Croatia's history, revisiting the circumstances that led to these two decisive military operations. We've seen how, in the face of political and territorial turmoil, Croatia's leaders strategized and executed plans that would change the nation's fate. Let's take a step back and revisit the prelude to these operations. The stage was set by the War of Independence, a time of internal strife and external pressure that tested Croatia's resolve. It was in this crucible that Operation Storm and Flash were conceived, as a bold response to the challenges Croatia faced. Then, we delved into Operation Storm, a military campaign of monumental proportions. The operation's aim was to reclaim the Krajina region, a territory lost to Croatian Serb rebels. The Croatian armed forces proved their mettle in this operation, showcasing their strategic planning and execution skills. Next, we explored Operation Flash. This was a swift and decisive strike, aimed at regaining control over Western Slavonia. It demonstrated the Croatian military's ability to adapt and respond to changing circumstances, further solidifying their place in the annals of military history. Finally, we examined the aftermath of these operations and the international response they elicited. The operations certainly had their share of controversy, provoking a range of reactions from international spectators, yet they undeniably marked a turning point in the War of Independence, bringing the conflict closer to its end. Today, Operation Storm and Flash are seen as significant milestones in Croatia's path to independence. They remain contentious, sparking debates among historians, policymakers, and military strategists. Yet their impact is undeniable. While they remain contentious to this day, there's no denying the significant role Operation Storm and Flash played in shaping the course of Croatia's history.